So, thank you so much for stopping by the Epoch Times. We're so excited. Anytime I get the opportunity to talk to leaders from the state of California, where I just recently moved, gets me a little excited. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're entering the race to take on such a momentous task in the state of California.
You know what? As a mother, wife, and small business owner, I'm just so tired of politicians who are so power hungry and they no longer care about the American people anymore. And they're pushing our nation into a socialist communist country, which I escaped from, and I cannot afford that for my children or the American people. I will not go back to that. By all means, I will fight to defend our liberty, freedom, and our way of life at all costs. And that's why I'm running for Congress. But not only that, my dad served alongside the Americans during the fall of Saigon. And he was actually captured and tortured, and then later on released. And then that's when we did our escape in 1984 with the whole family. My mom was 8 months pregnant with my younger sister, myself, my older sister, and my two twin younger brother. He hid us underneath his fishing boat because he was a fisherman. And so it's totally a God thing that they didn't find us out, because as kids, you know, we're loud. Mm-hmm. Right, and we're obnoxious. You can't be quiet underneath a fishing boat, right?
Yeah.
So it's a miracle in and of itself. But before my dad left, he had this vision of a man in white saying to him, "You must believe in me. You must believe in me." We were Buddhism and ancestor worshipers, so we didn't know about God. So my dad said, "God, if you're real, protect my family from Vietnam to America safe, and I'll worship you." And that's the only hope he had. And so he counted the cost, knowing that if he take a whole family, we could be captured, torture, and murder. But he's willing to risk that, count the cost for the sake of freedom. And we are here now today in America because of that.
What a phenomenal story.
Thank you.
What courage to do that. And you know, you're looking, when I look at the state of California, there's just so many problems, and it's going to take courage to fix a lot of these problems.
Absolutely.
What do you think the biggest problems are in the state, and what is going to be kind of your focus if you were elected?
Well, you know, Gov Newsom is a horrible governor.
Yes.
And he has released a total of 64,000 prisoners. I mean, what does he think, that they're going to kumbaya and be great citizen? Not all of them going to be great citizens. They're going to come back and do what they've done before. It's a slap in their hand saying, hey, you can continue your crimes. That's unacceptable for us as Americans and as Californians. And so the rise in crime, the rise in homelessness, inflation is killing us. Gas price at the pump. I mean, one place is at $8 right now on the coast, but it's insane. It's like $6 at some area, and the inflation.
And Arizonans and other people think $4 and $5 is bad.
I know. I'm like, guys, you don't know anything. We've been taxed. We've been double, triple taxed on everything, water to gas, and another triple tax on gas and water and everything you can think of. And you know, the thing is that they keep saying, when they put the incentive on the voters in November, they usually say, oh, you know, we're increasing tax because we want to help education, you know, for our children.
Right. Yeah.
But it never goes to them. It goes to the administration.
Yep.
Who are getting all the money. It doesn't go to the teachers nor the student, and it's not right. And now as federal, I'm running for Congress, half of the budget goes toward education every year. But yet in California, we're sitting at the 42nd place academically. How can our children compete with the world? That is the job of education, so they can. And so we are an advanced nation. We cannot allow that to happen. So my priority is, of course, fix the border, secure the border, fix immigration, make it easier for people who are seeking asylum the right way at their home country, an easier process to go through.
Right.
Because, you know, the problem is the open border, we're allowing the cartel to sex traffic kids through, but not only drugs, and it's killing our own children. And I have witnessed moms who their children died before them, and they're screaming on top of their lungs saying, how can this be? When we as Americans, when President let's go Brandon,
Yeah.
Joe Biden can close the border and Congress can make a law to allow the vetting process extended to 30 days or 40 days so they can finish the processing, the vetting process, and then send them back home if they're illegal and if it's legitimate and if they can stay. But the thing is that they need to extend that and Congress would not do that. The Democrat would not vote because it is their voting base and we cannot have that. So as your next Congresswoman, I plan to do that. And I'm a solution-based candidate. When I see a problem, I love challenge. It makes me work harder to get a solution for the American people.
I think the American people want more solutions.
Oh, absolutely.
And common sense, but solutions to so many of these problems.
Absolutely. And they deserve that.
Yeah, 100%.
And our children deserve that.
100%.
Yes.
So you're taking on, in a comment, you're taking on Katie Porter, who has raised millions of dollars throughout the country, probably not so much from California, but probably throughout most of the country.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a heavy lift to take her on.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on taking on such a heavy, I want to say heavyweight, but someone that has a little bit more established money-wise in that realm?
Absolutely, and you're correct. 150,000 are from California donors. The rest of her millions, she's at 20 million right now. It's from outside and special interests. And as we know, if she get elected again, it's all special interests, not for the people, but for other country and other groups. And so that's why we need to elect candidates who can represent we the people and bring that power back to them. And what I have promised my constituent and the American people, that when I go to vote in DC a week before that, I will let the people know, the American people know, and my constituent that, hey, these are the bills I'll be voting on, and I want you to tell me what you think on it. And then when I go to vote, I'm going to come back to you and say, these are the reason why I voted. So I want check and balance, and I want the people to hold me accountable. And if you think about it, what elected official do that? No, from local level, state level, and federal, no one wants that because they know they'll be called out for it.
100%.
Yeah.
So you're elected to Congress. First 100 days, what's happening? What's the very first thing that you want to do when you get elected?
Oh my gosh, there's so much things to do. We have so much problem under this Biden administration, especially the border. It's so unsafe. Our inflation, jobs, businesses. I am pro-business candidate. I want and I understand that the business is the bloodline to our economy and our district. If the businesses thrive, we all thrive. So I will make sure that we allow business to thrive and to be able to get back from this whole COVID ordeal, to be able to work again. Because I know a lot of my friends' business who can never open up again. Because of the lockdown.
The amount of restrictions that California and Governor Gavin Newsom has put on it's kind of crazy, and I'm so glad. I've been telling everyone here, I think Orange County is probably like the last safe haven for common sense people in the state of California. How do we expand the message? How do we grow our common sense message to a broader audience?
Absolutely. As I've been calling my constituent in our district, and I realized, I call Republicans, I also call moderate Democrats and independent non-party preference, and the message is clear that we, the people, want the power back. They want safety, they want security, they want better education for their children. So if as Republican, if we stay on message, we will win huge in 2022, not only in the House, but in the U.S. Senate and across this country. But we must stay on message. Do not get sidetracked, because the Democrat wants that, wants us to get sidetracked and focus on masks or, mandate or whatever, but stay on message, on what concerns the American people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that with the recall and stuff, they try to tie everything back to this Trump candidate, Absolutely. Which, I think there's a lot of things that our President Trump did that were great and that we could take, but maybe not necessarily in California, all of it. How are you going to hope to define yourself as someone maybe that supports Trump, but also define yourself as your own candidate. I think that a lot of the candidates in the recall weren't able to define themselves properly.
Absolutely.
What are you going to do to define yourself?
You know what? I'm a mother, wife, and small business owner. I have a lot of common sense. As a business owner, you have to. It's always a win-win situation. That's how we do business. But you know, as an outsider,
Yeah.
I am an individual. I'm a mother,
Right.
first and foremost, a wife, and small business owner. A lot of American people are that.
Right.
You know, they're parents, you know, and they're business owner, and they're Americans. That affects their pocketbook, you know. And so if we stay on message and not saying I'm siding with Trump or I'm siding with this candidate, I don't care. I'm an individual. I'm an individual thinker. And I will always think for the betterment of the American people and for our children. And that's all I can promise them, and that's what I will take to DC. And so that's why I think it's so important. I also sign on term limits because I believe that where we are today in our nation is because of career politicians.
100%.
They are no longer interested in the normal American people. They're interested in what, you know, whatever special interest, and they will vote accordingly. And that's not right, because when the people elected them to represent the district or the people, it's supposed to represent their interests, not their pocketbook or their pocket, right? So likewise, I have special interest group that have come to me and have asked me if we donate $200,000 to you and get you in DC, would you pass this through? I go, I appreciate that you want to donate to me, but I cannot do that. I'm not going to behold to any man.
Right.
I represent the people, and I will bring that power back to the people, and I serve the people.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many leaders that are beholden to so many special interests and to so many different things. It really is refreshing to hear someone say, I'm not going to be beholden to all that.
Absolutely. And I think what it is too is my faith in God. At the end of the day, whatever I do, you know, I'm accountable to God.
Right.
And whatever vote or decision I make, I'm accountable to God. And I cannot live with myself knowing that I'm accountable to Him. But I think if those who don't know God come into politics, there's a lot of power and money. If someone dangle money and power in front of you, people cave to it. You know what I mean? And they'll vote for the special interest, not for what's right. And that's the problem. And so I come into this knowing whatever I vote on is going to vote with my conscience, what's right and what's pleasing to God. And I think that's important because whatever is pleasing to God, it's always going to bless the people.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So last question, my final question for you.
Okay.
So my show in particularly, I really believe in inspiring and giving hope to young people.
Oh, yes.
So what inspirational message can you give, maybe not inspirational, how can we inspire the kids of California for a brighter future and bringing back the California dream?
Absolutely. That's also my heart as well, because we cannot lose the younger generation. They are our future who will fight for our children. So I invest a lot of time in younger kids at, you know, colleges and university. I come and speak to them, and I always say, hey, you know, guys, I was once in your shoe.
Right.
You guys have the courage, the bonus, but not only that, you like to challenge the status quo, people telling you what to do. So I want you to utilize your courage, your resistance to do what's right. And I go, you guys, I bet you, when you're in high school or college, you would go to like the Hilton or whatever, jump over and use their pool, right?
Yeah.
And just to rebel, right? But no one's gonna, you know, put you in prison, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't. So what I'm saying to the young kids is mobilize that courage and that freedom you have to fight for what's right and defend your freedom, because if you don't do it now, you have a lot to lose. They're trying to take away your career, your future, your livelihood, and tell you what to do. If you don't fight now, when they can't put you in prison, and plus in California, they have zero bail, that law. So if they, you know, book you, they're gonna have to let you out in 24 hours. So we have to utilize the Democrat law against them. But I challenge the younger kids to to stir up their passion, stir up their courage and boldness to do what's right and to fight for their freedom and their livelihood. Yes.
Amy, thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to be looking with special interest into your race and everything that's happening, especially since I'm in California.
Yes,
I
you're in
really
my
look forward
district.
to it, and we got to do a follow-up.
Absolutely, and your audience can follow me at www.amyphanwest.com. That's Amy, A-M-Y, Fan, P-H-A-N, West, W-E-S-T.com. There they can sign up to volunteer or chip in $20, $30, however, to help me fight this good fight. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you, and God bless America.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.